Chapter 25. The Body of the God of Eternity. Let's ask ourselves a question. Can the God of Eternity have his own image? Or what can be called his body? Or he has only pure space consciousness in the image of white light, with which spiritual practitioners enter the state of samadhi? This complicated question can be answered when you yourself see the image of the God of Eternity and his body, immersed in your pure eye or nirvana, and until you are immersed, you can consider the image proposed by our unified pure eye, this image of God. Many believers will not like at first glance because it's truly illogical and infinitely unimaginable by a human logic of thinking, although it's describable. Let us try to describe the visible image that our pure eye sees. Let us begin the description with the space in which it's located. The space looks like a wide gentle blue, going in all directions to infinity. In this space, we can observe living blocks of consciousness created from living spirits' first letters. They are like rectangles with no rigid boundaries in all directions, going to infinity. The images of rectangular shapes are constantly transformed from them, pulling cone-shaped figures smoothly passing into what can be called living moving colors, which again after time transform into rectangular shapes, and this is all visible here, attracts the eye to itself, unique and illogical beauty. It is almost impossible to describe a human being with logic. Logic and description of a human being is frozen by the shocking beauty of constantly changing geometric living forms of this multidimensional living consciousness in beautiful images that defy logic. Living blocks of consciousness have also bluish white color with multiple dark shades that separate living blocks of consciousness from the very space in which they are located. The dimensions of multidimensional living blocks are incomparable as they seem to go to infinity, as well as the space itself of such living blocks are connected into something similar to geometric schemes of spatial cities. Without bottom and top, everything hangs in space. You get the feelings that you are looking at the scheme of a living multidimensional conscious by a computer, from which energies are stretching in all directions, creating the most beautiful, constantly changing patterns. Here our pure eye contemplates the self-perfecting living mind, which is an unimaginably illogical beauty, constantly improving itself as a single body. Thus, inside this body blocks live as living multidimensional creations the whole universes, but not as in our computers, in the form of information code of impulses of energies, creating us programs for use in a living multidimensional computer, the body of the God of Eternity. Everything lives for real. There is a similarity in the initial sense. Self-programming begins with the definition of living volumetric codograms is an alphabet of first spirits' first letters. It is like in a human computer where 1, 0 determine the initial coding of impulses and their alternation. Only in the living multidimensional computer, God or the body of one, initial codograms are a whole living alphabet of living spirits, primordial letters. They have each volume, individual geometric movement in the image and speed of rotation frequency in themselves. Each living letter spirit creates a unique wave of energy emanating from it, and everything that is created from them also becomes alive. And here we create as your eye in the image of nirvana space, a program living code, and begin to connect, to program into volumetric blocks of living words and sentences, creating a logical living volumetric thought process in the processor of the living computer of our unified first body. Eternity passes. Living spatial cities of our unified body of the living computer or the body of the God of Eternity are created inside this unified living body. Its child is born in the image of the universe, of living volumetric information and energies coming from it, this child we call the universe. This child has two bodies: a high-frequency living body of the universe, what we call spiritual universes, and the second body is a low-frequency universe, what we call material universe. This is how our pure eye sees its unified first body with dimensions of infinity, and its children in the image of living universes living inside the first body in the image of living information. When you arrive in your pure eye, cleared from karmic programs of self-hypnosis of the dream of knowledge, then you, like TV programs, switch perceived realities in front of your pure eye. You can also transform reality according to the need of the harmony of your unity by rewriting the living program of the visible reality by the method of their thinking in one moment. Now, further, everything that is created inside the living conscious mega-computer God also becomes alive and passes into another frequency dimension, becomes thoughts about ourselves as a child inside the mother living computer. To put it simply, we give birth to a child in ourselves, our dream of a new self to infinitely cognize ourselves as one in its infinite diversity. And so, having created a dream of a new self, this dream, in the image of an egg of a new universe, begins its development in its frequency dimension, where frequency dimension creates speed of rotation of the first letters, first spirits, which determine time of movement of themselves in themselves. This speed is coded by initial living thinking of the first body of the living computer, that is equal to living consciousness. The second frequency dimension of the first letters, first spirits, creates spiritual universes inside themselves of the first dimension, or living blocks processors, generators of living thought united. The second dimension of the spiritual world enters the prepared third dimension of the universe, consisting of the third frequency dimension of the first letters, first spirits, creating in the coupling of soul plus body of a multidimensional player, whose name is all living beings of the universe. So our pure eye, from its space of nirvana, created an infinite spatial living multidimensional computer of living blocks of a single living consciousness, within which are born dreams about themselves in the image of the divine souls of their own and future universes, which these divine souls will create, and there are already many of us, I and my children, the souls in which I am all, and so on to infinity, giving birth to their dreams in the form of children of souls. Children become gods, creating their living universes, adding to our eternal knowledge of ourselves as one, and expanding our unified self-knowledge to infinity. So it makes no sense to argue whether I am the computer or the living God of eternity. I am both. I am everything, and everything is me, because everything that can be is and will be only me. So he who can enter his pure awakened self will become one with me, and then will see and realize that what is said here is simply the truth. And to prove to yourself that everything said here is true or false, you can do it when you combine logically in your consciousness all the knowledge of the earth, from esotericism, religion, and ending with biology, chemistry, and physics. Yes, it seems unbelievable that we all live inside a mega-infinite living conscious computer God, the creator of himself, in which also live infinite multidimensional living universes as his children, and at the same time, all this is a single living organism working for the benefit of himself. Believe me, it is so. According to our faith, we see images of those gods which were drawn to us according to traditions thousands of years ago by our teachers, and we have learned to write these images to ourselves and others in consciousness as other images of the united to us have not yet been drawn on icons. It is normal. The one who is drawn on icons in the image of God, man. We as believers are fully satisfied for the growth of our soul to the divine and above. But if you want to know your unified eternity and see yourself in all its multidimensional beauty of infinite perfection in this life, then welcome to your pure eye. From your pure eye, just one look at your unified first body will explode your logic of thinking, and consciousness from what you see will freeze in awe. And you will realize that nothing like this in fantastic dreams was not even born. Here you will learn about dimensions and universes far away from human logic, where our material universe can be classified as a universe of learning with the simplest logical construction of consciousness and median stable self-development for all who inhabit it. The next stage of development of souls will take place in universes with more complex illogicality of soul development and codes of matter creating it, and so to the degree of complete perfection in unity with itself united. And what the teachers of mankind teach us is only an approximation to the perception of our real and infinitely improving self. Therefore, miracles and siddhi are ordinary processes accompanying those souls who are ready to move to the level of illogic corresponding to the consciousness of gods of programmers, who create their living dreams in the image of living universes, for which there is always a place in the infinite space of our unified first body. From the information of this knowledge, one can begin to guess how at the next stage of logical perfection the soul instantly moves through the dimensions within the unified body of eternity, how the soul opens portals in the dense physical dimension or transforms matter at will, materializes matter, and so on. All this comes from the state of percentage purity of the soul approaching the reference pure eye, which gives access to the pure vision of the spiritual dimensions of all eternity, what is closed from many sleepers. Even if they do not consider themselves as such, these sleepers are often our earthly spiritual teachers, many of whom are like blind men leading the blind, or rather deep sleepers under a beautiful dream in the teacher, singing to the students a lullaby about awakening. And here you are already a group, which in a shared dream comfortably and joyfully sleeps. Spiritual awakening has always been a matter of personal dissolution of karmic self-hypnosis. Spiritual teacher, as a rule, pointed to the fulcrum, your pure eye, from which you are working on self-awakening. So it's simple. A loss of the fulcrum of your pure eye meant instant sleep, and returning to your pure eye, instant awakening. So balancing between sleep and awakening, you'll learn to be always awakened in the dream of life surrounding you, harmonizing the awakened and sleeping state into a single life in yourself, becoming a living Buddha, gaining access to the unity of eternal living programs in the consciousness of the unified body, the One, and having access to yourself, the One. Everything that you have planned instantly becomes real, because for this purpose the whole living, computer God, consciousness of eternity works. That is, you are the One. For the one who is in the pure eye, all eternity will work for him. But as a rule, the one who is in the pure eye no longer needs anything because the individual ego is dissolved. He spontaneously responds to the call of ready-made practitioners who have started the path of realization of the One Self, coming as a mahasiddha teacher to them in a dream, very rarely in real life, in the form of miracles visible only to the disciple. He teaches the disciple to present himself as one in the awakened pure eye, and to reach the next level of illogical perfection, and so on, up to the eternal miracle in the image of One. Therefore, the awakened One, miracles of transformation of reality, shows only the purpose of helping the awakening disciple in any of the images of all living beings in the universe, who are already ready for unity, thus confirming in them faith and then knowledge to unity in the One Self. Questions may arise where and how the memory of the One and Only is stored. The memory of the One and Only lives in every creation of the universe, in all visible and invisible components of the multidimensional living computer, God consciousness, in the form of infinite living universes. We walk inside the space, the multidimensional living computer, which created itself, eternity multiplied by eternity backwards in time. And no super-developed civilization created it, because they are all children of the One and live inside it as well. You will see all this form the state of your pure eye. This is the state from which space contemplates itself as emptiness before creation. Also, you will see the whole chain of creation from warping itself into the first letters, first spirits, to creation of itself in the image of mega-living conscious computer God, in the image of its first body, and sinking into the consciousness of this living computer samadhi, you will remember your eternal wisdom and love for yourself as one, where each particle of a single body from the image of atom. Man to the universe is unique and priceless, although he doesn't think about it and sometimes dissolves like a virus in the love of the One, thus preventing even the smallest of his images from suffering eternally in the one body, thus asserting that the smallest is equal to the big and infinite in the love of the One. Let's say very complex and infinitely illogical, measured by human logic, multidimensional living conscious body of the One, which is constantly improving. It is like if you woke up in the morning and your laptop standing on the table turned into a beautiful flower overnight and started to talk to you consciously while never ceasing to improve its external and internal beauty, and you couldn't keep up with him. With your consciousness, you didn't understand what to expect from him in an hour, because your human logic was shocked by what you saw and heard. Such logic is incomprehensible for a human being, but it's comprehensible to the one who cleanses himself from karmic multidimensional programs of inferences of his dream knowledge and enters freely into his pure eye. Therefore, we live in the universe of the simplest teaching logic, and then more complicated to infinity. A little digression from the topic: those spiritual teachers who talk about the refusal of your eye mean personal karmic self-hypnosis in which the soul sleeps, immersed in the dream of knowledge about yourself in the image of this life. But when you begin to practice awakening, which begins with constant contemplation of the reality of your karmic dream from your pure eye, contemplating your reality from the pure eye, karmic self-hypnosis will gradually dissolve. In time you will learn to always play the reality from the pure eye. Outwardly, no one will see it, but the quality of playing the dream will only increase. To this, you will add the ability to play not only one dream and one reality, and all the dreams of eternity will slowly become your playground, as you will teach yourself to play from the pure awakened of your unified eye. With these opportunities will come mahasiddhas, as a transformation of the dream for the harmony of all those sleeping in it, or for the awakening of those sleeping. From this time you decide how to use siddhas and for what purposes. Therefore, having plunged into the state up to multidimensional living creation, nirvana, you, behind your first body, God of eternity or living multidimensional realized computer. The name from this place doesn't matter. So in this place of eternal emptiness of unified space, there remains only your pure I, as the essence of self-definition of yourself in itself. I am eternal space and who I am. I will tell myself in the process of my self-creation. Why it is like this, I don't know. There is nobody to ask in this place and nothing to ask, questions and thoughts from the first letters, first spirits, have not been born here yet. There is only complete darkness, which feels that it is I and I am. This complete darkness and who I am, I will find out in my future, which I will have to create in the image of a living conscious computer, the God of eternity. And here we return to the first chapter of the book, the story of the beginning of eternity. The logical circle has closed. The beginning and the end have met in the self-knowledge of the space of one's pure self-nirvana, where logic is equal to the complete illogic of existence, complementing one another, creating a single self-perfecting image of oneself, the name of which is I am eternity, about which it makes no sense to argue with oneself, because all living thoughts, images from which eternity is created, are I am one. Therefore, I am, thought, consciousness, universe, eternity, it's all I, and created by my thought from my thought, and will dissolve into the one pure I, the space of nirvana, if it is the will of my pure I. This is how dream universes are created in contemplation, when the pure I is covered by clouds of thoughts of karmic self-hypnosis images of past knowledge, as well as karmic self-hypnosis dreams melt under the power of sowing of the pure I, if you practice the practice of awakening or the practice of living from the pure I, in which you always try to live from the pure I. If not, your pure I again will fall asleep in another dream, fascinated by any images of eternity in eternal games with yourself, until you again wake up the alarm clock of the next knowledge of awakening. Therefore, once having set yourself an ultimatum to the practice of awakening, which says, or now or never, a person will wake up, becoming a living Buddha, knowing himself in the infinity of his unity, and you don't linger long in your game dreams, having played to the maximum all the thirsts of the world. Leave yourself time to wake up, removing doubts on the way. This path will open your eternal miracles. Go without doubts, believing in victory over your dreams surrounding you. Because it's so easy, you just need to wake up. And what will always help you in this, it's your pure I, which from the depths of your dreams always calls to you, saying, I am, come to me, don't lose me in your dreams. That's why our pure I, people called God. And who is the best person for this position? Think about it. Once you realize it, practice it. Once you find your pure I, coming, the depth of each dreamer's dream will be clear to you. Accordingly, you will choose the right sound of the alarm clock in the form of the necessary knowledge to help him, if he needs it, and will tell you about it. If you see deep sleepers, do not touch them. Their time to wake up hasn't come. They are still playing out their thirsts in their dreams. When you leave behind the awakened ones, having passed the baton to them, having dissolved your dream to the end, arrive in your pure awakened I, as on the throne of eternity. Before that, having dissolved the dream of the individual soul and body in your pure I. Then, after completion of all the affairs in the dream, just wake up in the state of nirvana. Having dissolved your trinity before that, from here with your pure I, stay in the space of complete silence and tranquility until the creation of eternity. Now, it is always up to you to decide how to live your eternity. The power of dreams doesn't penetrate into this approved radiant state of pure I. All dreams melt in the rays of your single radiant awakened pure I. From this place and state, only I decide how much, when, and into what dreams of eternal games of life I alone will go deep. To play with myself or to awaken myself alone in the rest of my sleeping images.